to Tell Your Story 2020 Virtual Book Fair. I am your host, Consuela Mian. Before we get started, I wanted to introduce myself. I am a published author of a children's book called My Blended Family, Emily's Story. And also, I am a published author of a poetry book, which is called 50 Ways to Love. They are available right now on Barnes and Nobles. I wanted to get some authors together that were self-published authors because right now with the COVID situation, a lot of us have not been able to do our book signings. We haven't been able to do our book fairs. Everything has been canceled, and life as we know it has also been canceled. We are all trying to get adapted to being in the house and looking outside and remembering the times when we had an actual summer. Summer vacations are canceled, summer fairs, the water parks and things are barely open. Here we are. I guess this started in February. Here we are, August. Now it's school season, and everybody is like, should we open? Should we close? Should we do this? And so I am navigating through homeschooling and work and being able to host this for you guys. So I just said to myself, I want to do a virtual book fair. I looked into it and I'm like, nobody really had any information of a platform or how this could be done. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I could just put it on YouTube and then, run a video of everybody's books and then the links to where you can purchase the books. And I'm like, that doesn't give, if you're at a regular book fair and you buy a table or art fair, any other function that you choose to represent yourself as far as an author in your book, they get to see you face to face. They get to have a rapport with you, talk to you, ask you if you're writing any other books. You get to introduce yourself. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't I do an author panel every week and do the YouTube channel and put it on Instagram and put it on Facebook and do a website? Let's just do everything. I put out, some requests to see who would be interested with the author pages, and I tried to reach as many people as I could. And I got a lot of feedback, and a lot of people were like, this is a great idea. I can't wait to be on the panel. So I was excited to get the feedback, and you ladies were up first to start the first annual book fair. No one has done it like this, so we are the first. So when you see other book fairs and they start to copy, because they will, you can say, well, I was on the first panel with Consuela, and it was her idea, and we did the first episode. So I thank you guys for signing up and having me today. So just really quickly, I am in Phoenix, Arizona. It's really hot here. Where are you guys located?
I'm in New York, in Troy.
I'm in Akron, Ohio, and it was 95 degrees today.
Well, I'm on the Gulf Coast, the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and it was 107 heat index here today.
I think that me
Yeah.
and neck as far as wave goes. So yes, I understand that heat. I have to have my ice water. Other than that, I can't function. I'm in the air inside the house, so have to have that water going.
Yes.
So today I want to start by you guys introducing each other and discussing your book. And Desiree, I am going to ask you to go first. I know you said you're out of Akron, Ohio, and this is your first book. It's called Frozen in the Midst of Fire. So give everybody tell everybody a little bit about yourself and then go into your book.
Okay, my name is Desiree Philmore, and I wrote my book, Frozen in the Midst of Fire. And my book is talking about my life story and also my daughter's life stories. And then it explains or it helps someone that is grieving. So I experienced a tragedy happen in my life where I had a house fire and I lost both my daughters. in the house fire, as well as everything else. So I wanted to write a book to share our story because my oldest daughter had Cri-du-Chat syndrome, um, and her name was Jada. And just experiencing her as like a little baby having or me being a teenager actually, a teenage mom with a special needs child was just um, an experience, and it was a hurdle that I got through and got over, which was good. And also when I was in college, I had my youngest daughter, Chimera. So my book is letting people know that it's okay to grieve. Everyone does grieve. At some point in their lifetime, everyone knows someone who did pass away. So there is different stages to grief, and it's just helping you and encouraging you to still strive and keep going. You have to still keep pushing, or even like when it gets super hard, you just have to keep going.
And that's a great story of empowerment that's going to help so many people, not people just grieving their children, but also any type of grief that they may be experiencing in their life. What is some advice that you can give someone that is going through a grieving process that may have lost their children? Um, what advice can you give them, and also discuss a little bit about your support system that you utilize during that time?
Okay. So if someone has lost a child, there's a lot of parents out there that have lost children, and I have um, I have been a part of a Facebook group of grieving parents or grieving mothers who've lost their children. And I didn't know at first, like how many people actually, lose children, but there is a lot of them. The advice I would give someone that is grieving the loss of their child is that it is going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. It's not just you'll be okay after a funeral. It's going to be tough, but you have to keep going.
You're saying like be as positive as possible and always continue their legacy and honor them in a great way by just keeping on.
Yes. Yeah. I always believe that one day you will see your children again. It might not be now, of course, but you always want to, you know, make sure that you're doing the right thing so that you can get to your children. You can see them again. And you always want to make your children proud of you. So that's what I always strive to do, make my children proud of me with everything that I do. Even though as hard as it is to live without them, you have to keep striving because they are watching you and they're looking over it like they're watching you now. So oh, and the support system I have a very big family, and I'm so proud of my family. My family has supported me ever since the loss of my the loss of my children, and also before that, like when I first had my daughter, when I had Jada at 16 years old, my family was there to support me. When I had my youngest daughter, they were there to support me. And we're just always a close knit family. So family has been my go-to support system. I've also have a group of friends that we've all been friends since elementary school. And there's five of us, and we have been super close, and they have followed me and helped me keep going and just encouraged me. So even if people don't have, because there is some people that have experienced grief for the loss of a child or children, and they don't have anyone. You are not alone. You're not by yourself. God does have you. Believe it or not, He really does have you. Um, he's always going to be there for you. If you have a question, He will answer it. It might not be right then and there, but I'm pretty sure He's going to answer it. It may be in a dream where He comes to you in your dream, or He comes through someone else or another child that's going to come and hug you, and you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, was that my child? So you always have to just remain hopeful, remain positive, and yes, I'm just very very appreciative of my support system.
That's an amazing story of empowerment, and also too, like you said, if you don't have the support system, or the family, because some people don't, it's nice to know that you utilize support groups, where people can get in and everybody can share their story of grief, because that's a tragic loss. And I commend you for writing your story and keeping your babies alive by telling your story and helping others that have gone through that. So right now, I want to ask you to show a picture of your beautiful babies.
Um, this is this is Jada, and this is Chimera, and those are my beautiful daughters.
And rest peacefully, beauties. And the beginning, the front of your book.
And here's the front cover, which is over here too.
Yeah,
Here's the front cover.
we see it. Thank you, Desiree, for sharing your story.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. We're going to move on to Shana Gourdine. She is going to talk about her book. Sheena, do you want to let us know what kind of book you wrote and what um, encouraged you to write your book?
Well, the book I wrote is poetry and spoken words. And what inspired me was the fact is that I went through domestic violence and then also going through having chronic illnesses made me write the poetry to then it was a way to strengthen through my process of what I was dealing with. So I chose to put together words that would help people love all their imperfections despite of what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And I titled the book The Mask Behind the Mask because a lot of times we put on a face and it could be a face that we show the world, but that might not be the real thing we're dealing with. Like, you look at me, I'm smiling, I'm cheesing, but you would never know that I'm chronically in pain every day. Fibromyalgia, which is the chronic nerve pain, the ankylospondylitis, which is the arthritis in my spine. It goes the rest of my joints like arthritis. And then I have a polycystic kidney disease. And then dealing with that and then going through domestic violence, I went through like depression and anxiety and PTSD. So going through that trauma, I needed a way out. And instead of talking to people, I wrote.
That is amazing. So right now, I'm going to put you on the spot and have you read a poem and do some spoken word for us.
I'm going to read Overcomer. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It says, I am an overcomer of my situation. Despite the emotional, the physical, and the mental abuse I endured, you have to learn to remove yourself from your situation to reach the successful position. You have to want to have joy, peace, and happiness. I overcame my situation by taking the path of happiness. My soul was hungry to fight. It was fight to being back to a normal me. We couldn't depend on being scared, hurt, or depressed, or lost. I couldn't let the devil win. That was not my option. With God, grace, and mercy, I found my strength. I stepped out and conquered my fears. In order to overcome, you have to fight. You have to have the ambition and the drive to not let your situation make the final decision in your life. Say it out loud. I'm an overcomer and be determined.
I'm an overcomer.
I'm an overcomer.
I'm an overcomer.
Yes. We loved it. And this is amazing because at the times that we're going through right now, there is a lot of racial justice. I call it a race war. And if you paid attention to what was going on in the world, you knew this was going to happen. And then we have the coronavirus, and people are in the house, people are living in fear. And so, and we're losing people to the virus, and not just to the virus. There's other things that loss that people are going through. They're losing their jobs. People are losing their homes. Life as they know it is not normal to them anymore. And so this is great to me that you're on the platform and one of the first artists on the platform, because people need this type of encouragement right now, um, because it's just so much going on, and it's important for people to try to maintain some type of new routine, for people to encourage each other, love on each other, and just take things one day at a time. And so, Sheena, make sure you hold up your book so everybody can see. Mask behind the mask.
Watch the back. The good picture.
And that's a good title also, because we all wear, whether it's a mask of a smile or a mask of makeup or whatever we're hiding behind. Um, my grandmother, she was one that always said, put your makeup on, put your hair on, no matter what you're going through, get up and keep going. And it's funny because when she was in hospice, she was really little. This little lady called me from the hospital, and hospice. She said, "Get up here and do my hair." And I said, "Okay, Grandma, I'm on my way." But she never, even up until her last breath, always wanted people to remember her for being that woman that kept herself up, that was strong, that was, that encouraged everybody else, and that spread love to those that needed it. But I think the most important thing that people need to remember is you're not strong because you're going through things. You're strong because you're getting through things. You're moving forward. You are breaking odds. You're breaking generational curses. You don't want the next generation, Sheena, like she said, of domestic violence, and speaking out against those things. So I appreciate your stories, of courage and empowerment, both of you. And Sheena, is there anything else that you want to add, about your book?
Uh, well, the message behind it is, the fact is that we all can cry, be sad, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but it's okay to say that you're not okay. I took the steps and went to therapy to get the help.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us, we have a stigma on the fact that we have a mask on, and, we don't want to tell anybody, we don't want to get judged by things. But it's okay to say that you're not okay and seek help, and if you're going through domestic violence, reach out. Don't let it just happen and, be blinded by love and all the authentic things we think that, oh, they're going to change. Because most of the time, once it happens once, it will happen again.
Absolutely. And so before we move on to Lane, I want you to describe what you got going on in the back of you right there, Sheena. You got some art, back there that I absolutely love.
First beautiful lady, I painted my queen. Can y'all see her? She's a queen. I painted her at a painting twist.
Okay.
The other queen that's over here, she says strong. I got that for my 1-year anniversary from my HGM organization as my strength through my process. And, they gave me that as a reminder that, all through things you can be strong.
That's beautiful. You are definitely multi-talented, very talented woman. Thank you for sharing your story. And we want to move on to Lane. Lane, you said you were in Mississippi.
Yes, I am. I am on the Gulf Coast, the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I am about 120 miles from New Orleans,
Okay.
one side of me, and on the other side of me is Alabama and Florida. So I'm in the middle of everything. And if you want to go to the south, you're gonna need a boat. It's all water.
And water probably would be nice right now for everybody. That sounds
Yes.
amazing.
Yes, it would be. Yes, it would be. First, I want to say thank you so much, Consuela, and for having us on this platform,
You are
network, and get our books out so people can see them and hear the stories, because somebody is always a story just like ours.
That's right.
And we don't want people to think they are by themselves.
That's right. Absolutely.
So let me tell you about Unique. My birth name is Yolanda Bradley, and my alias name is actually my real name too. My mother, uh, who was an educator, she named me Yolanda after Martin Luther King's daughter, Yolanda. But my nickname at home was Lane.
Okay.
Maiden name is Bird. So it's actually my name that I use as my alias. A lot of people don't know that, but I guess they'll know that now. Uh, but Unique, I came up with Unique because life is just life. And we go through life and you know, we grow and we always want to be grown when we young. And then when we get older, we realize, no, I don't want this anymore because life is kind of hard. But life has been good to me in all kind of ways. And one day I just wanted to know what my purpose was, because I believe we all have a purpose here on this earth. I think God gave us this wonderful life for a purpose, to either help somebody or sometimes to help ourselves or both. So I asked God one night, what was my purpose? And when I was looking at one of the shows or news shows on TV, a young girl, 13, it broke my heart. She killed herself. She committed suicide because she was being bullied. And I thought, wow, is that something that's been going on? Because when I was coming up, my mother made sure, with me being the only girl and the baby girl, that I knew that I could do whatever I wanted to do, and I didn't have to listen to other people. You know, she used to tell me, wake up in the morning and you look in that mirror and you tell yourself you're intelligent. You tell yourself you're smart. You tell yourself you can do whatever you put your mind to. And don't you listen to what nobody say you can't do. So I felt, and I used to work in the school system. I was in the education system for 8 years. I was a teacher and an administrative assistant. So I watched young girls today, and they're missing something there. So that's what made me come up with my book, Unique, because being unique makes you different, and being different is nothing bad. If we all were the same, it'll be a boring world. So unique is to empower, encourage girls to be courageous and to have that mindset of, I want to do certain things when I get older. You know, girls can do anything boys can do now. When I was coming up, and I'm telling my age, you know, if boys did certain things, girls did certain things. If you was a girl, you was going to be a nurse, you was going to be a teacher, or you was going to be a home person working in the home. And boys did all the tough things. Well, it's 2020, and girls can be engineers. Girls can be shipyard workers. Girls can be welders. Girls can be presidents. So that's what my book is to show. Girls can do anything and know that God put you on this earth for a purpose. And that is what Unique is about. And on my book, I have some beautiful pictures of girls, because we have to love ourselves no matter our skin complexion, our hair texture. And this is some of the beautiful pictures of some of the girls that are different, but unique. They are unique. And this is the front of my book. It is told by the character Uniqua. So we named her Uniqua, and she takes you on a journey to show you what you can be and what you can do.
I love the art. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's important to start giving our young girls that security that they need, to remind them that they are beautiful, to remind them no matter where they came from, rich or poor, whatever color, hair, everything that you said, um, that they are beautiful within their right and they are unique. And also, too, um, the best thing as far as advice I wanted to say for all authors, because I think that we get into this. Do I want to tell my story? Well, there'll be other stories like mine. That's not something you personally should ever be worried about when you decide to write a book. Um, because your story is your story. And even if somebody comes along and has the same idea as you, they're still not you. And like Lane said, they're still not unique. So don't ever be discouraged as far as writing your story. Write your story. That's one of the reasons why I chose this name for this virtual book fair, was Tell Your Story Book Fair, because it's about what you're writing, where you are in your life, how you want to encourage people, how you want to tell your story specifically. And another thing that I wanted to touch on too is when is this the first book for all of you?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. I think we discussed that, but I wasn't sure. So another piece of advice I want to give you. My first book I wrote was Emily's Story. It was about blended families. It's a whole series about children that are going through something as far as being raised in a different environment other than the mom and dad that we are used to growing up and seeing that everybody has. So I had some great reviews, and then I had one review that wasn't so great. And I got all of my feelings about it, like, what's she mean? That's my book. And, what's she talking about? Like, got all upset. So you're going to have someone that does not like your story. Don't let it upset you, because when you think about it, that's their opinion. It's not the truth. It's just the way they took it in their opinion. Don't let it stop you from writing. Don't let it stop you from anything. And I did. I took that personal, but then I thought about it like that was her opinion, and I wanted a review, and I'll take from that what she said, and then I'll move on to the next book and take into consideration what she said. So do not get into your feelings about that, because you're telling your story. Some people may like it, some people may not. As an artist, you know that your work is just not for everybody. So write it off as this wasn't for them. And once you gain your fan base and your audience, they will stick with you and they'll look for the next book, the next children's book, the next story from Desiree, the next poetry book from Sheena. They will keep looking. Or if you guys want to get into fiction, nonfiction, whatever your genre is, whatever you want to write, write it. Because we never know what's going to happen, how long we'll be here, but we do know we have a talent. We do know that we like to write, and we do know that we have a story to tell. So, with that being said, I just want to ask some fun questions now. So, I want to go around and ask everybody, about a specific time, a silly time, something that was silly that happened to you, or that was you were kind of laughed about, or something that you remember in your life that was one of those moments that you'll never forget. And I'll tell mine first. I remember I waitressed at this restaurant when I was 19 in college, and this lady, she would come in all the time, and she would order wings, the appetizers, and it was during the the special, that happy hour special every night. And she called me over to the table one night and she said, "My bones are burnt. They're overcooked." And I, I said, excuse me? I said, "Don't you see these bones? and she started yelling at me. And she was like, I can't give these to my dog. And I'm just like, okay, we don't keep that stuff for your dog. So you have to pay the bill. She's like, I'm not paying it. Slams her bill and calendar. I want your manager.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here laughing. I'm trying not to laugh to her, but I'm laughing to myself. Waitressing is it's already busy and it's stressful, but this made me laugh. I didn't get mad. She's cussing everything. So I tell my boss, he's like, you're kidding. I said, no. So he goes over to the table, and I have never seen somebody eat everything off of a bone. You hear me? The gristle, the chicken, everything. That there was nothing on that bone, none of them. And so he's like, he's looking at it. He's like, are you kidding me? I'm not giving you your money back. You ate this food. So they argue back and forth, and she bags it up and she walks out. She said, I'm not paying for it. And she walked out. And I was like, wow. And when they say the customer is always right when you're doing customer service, no, they are not always right. She was absolutely wrong in that situation. So I just wanted to tell that story. That dawned on me. My sister actually asked me about that not too long ago, because I've had some crazy stuff happen to me in my life, and that was one of them, because I couldn't believe that she really wanted her money back. So, Sheena, what is something crazy or a story that you can remember to share with us?
I would say when I was a cashier, and I had this one customer. I bagged all his stuff, put it on the turn wheel. So when he went to go pull a bag, he was like, the cans fell. So he's like, you coming to pick this up? I said, no. He's like, why not? You dropped it. I said, no, you pulled it off the turning wheel. I didn't drop it. He's like, well, I'm not moving until you pick it up. I said, well, I guess we're going to be here all night. I said, listen, my name is not Molly the maid.
Exactly.
And he called me a cashier. I'm around that corner to pick it up. Well, I want your manager. I said, sure, my manager can pick it up because I'm not. So I went, called the manager. So everybody in line was like, won't you just pick up the cans? Why are you bothering her? Because she packed my bag too much. I said, no, you pulled it the wrong way. You know the plastic bags is cheap, so it just, as soon as you pick it up, stuff will drop out. So my boss came, and I walked away from the register. So he had this whole fit, called the company. Oh, she was being rude to me. I just had to laugh. I was like, this was really funny because I really, really was not picking those cans up. And I went out my business, and then when he left, I went back to the register.
Yeah, good thing that they should be happy that we didn't have social media in those days.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
It should probably be on social media. Let me tell you about this one here.
Yes, exactly. Desiree, how about you?
I am a substitute teacher. I've been teaching for this year will be my 4th year teaching. So I'm really short. I'm only 5'2", and everyone thinks I'm way younger than I am. I was teaching one time, and it was my first year like substituting, so I wasn't really familiar with the schools if it wasn't like my high school that I went to. So I went to and I went to a high school in my area, and I got told to go to class, and I was looking for the classroom I was supposed to be teaching in, and the teacher said, why aren't you listening to me? Turn around, go to class. And I said, I'm looking for the class. I'm not sure where the class is. I'm like, but I'm not a student. So she thought I was talking back to her, and I wasn't. I was just trying to tell her I'm teaching. I'm looking for the class. And she's like, what did I tell you? You're going to get after school detention. I'm like, I'm not a student. So I ended up telling her, like, I showed her my badge, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You look like a high school kid. So I always kind of got that at any school I went to, really.
You don't look like, I don't know how old you because I didn't ask, but you look like you could be in high school, so I get it. But that's funny. I think that's something that you should just gracefully be happy about. I know it's a pain right now, but one day you're gonna love that.
Oh, yes.
You really will love that. Look young. And Lane, how about you?
Well, this is a story when I was a young girl. Some things you just don't forget, especially when you think you're about to die from your parents. But I guess I was in elementary, and I always had dogs. I just always had dogs, and I love dogs. And one year, my dog had puppies. She had them outside under the shed. Well, I asked my mother, because at that time it was no dogs coming in our house. So I asked my mother, I said, "Oh, Mom, it's cold outside. Can I bring the dog in?" And she was like, "No." That dog will take care of her puppies. I was like, okay. Well, I waited till they went to sleep. And we had a fireplace. And I loaded these boxes around the fireplace, and I bought that dog and all 12 of them puppies in the house. And I went to sleep. Well, my daddy worked at the shipyard, and he got up early, and all I could hear was my mother hollering his name.
Do that, don't you? Come get these kids.
Yeah, she was saying some stuff. She was like, "Look what that girl did." I never did get out of bed. Never did. My dad had to take that dog and all the puppies back outside before he went to work. It was just, oh my God. I thought I was going to die. I thought she was going to come in there and beat me to death.
She's probably mad at him for not. She's like, you probably should have got her. He's like, no, that's my baby. She, that's how dads are with girls.
Yes, yes. Oh my God, 12 puppies in the house. Can you? Oh my goodness. I thought that it was cold. I was trying to make sure they stayed warm.
It was like poor dogs. The older generation, they'll say, that's what that fur is for. They fine. They know how to be outside.
That's what she said too.
They outside, leave them alone.
Yeah. Yes, Lord. That was funny. That was funny. Every time I think about it, I'm like, Lord, the things children do.
Well, thank you all for joining me today. And we're going to wrap up our panel this morning. And I want to thank you all. Please hold your books up. We're going to go around, and I'll start with Sheena and Lane and Desiree. Sheena, where can they purchase your book?
You can find the Mask on the Mask on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Target, Walmart, all the platforms. And if you want a signed copy, you can also contact me on my website or on my personal page, which my website is www.theladybehindthemask.com, and my personal page is my first and last name.
All right, Miss Lane.
And you can find mine on the platforms as well, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, walmart.com, all the platforms where you can purchase a book. I'm also on Instagram, Yolanda Bradley 38. And you can also find me on Facebook at Author Lane Bird.
Okay, and Desiree?
My book can be purchased on Amazon.com. It's also purchased on Barnes & Noble, Kobo Books. I have the print version and also the ebook version of my book, and I'm working on the audiobook version of this book here. You can find me on Instagram as well. It's Destined, DESTINED _Desi, DESI.
Thank you, ladies, again. We are going to wrap up our first author panel for our 2020 Tell Your Story Book Fair. Catch us next week with 3 new authors. We will be uploading a YouTube video soon and our website where you will be able to purchase these ladies' books as well. We will have that information for you shortly. Make sure you are loving on each other. Stay safe and tune in next Saturday. We'll see you soon. Thank you.